creativity. And then something does, whether it's a painting or a book that you read, and suddenly you want to paint something like that, or see if you can do that, or try that. And there's always this little voice in the back of your head that goes, who do you think you are? You've never painted anything in your life. You can't paint, you're not a painter. What do you think you're doing? You can't build anything, you've never built anything, you're 9. You know what I mean? But you try it anyway, and you find out you're good at it. You find that God gave you this natural ability. Could be kicking a soccer ball, could be dancing, could be anything. But you discover at some point you have a certain talent, maybe more than one. So for me, when I found Star Trek, suddenly I wanted to build props, like the communicators and the phasers. Now, remember, this is like early 70s, y'all. So I would go to like hardware stores and look for junk that just kind of reminded me, ooh, this piece looks like I could glue it to some other piece and then paint it black, and and so suddenly I was doing all this stuff for the first time that I'd never tried. My parents had an 8mm movie camera, thank you, sweetie, and I would make uniforms. They were bad. But I would make uniforms, and I would take aluminum foil out of the kitchen and make the badges, right? They're shiny. And got to the point where my mom hated making uniforms for me so much that she taught me to use the sewing machine so I could make them myself. So I would make them, red, gold, blue, and then I would round the kids in the neighborhood up and make them wear the uniforms. Of course, I wore the gold one because I was Captain Kirk, right? Of course. I was the skinniest little scrawny Captain Kirk you would ever see. But I would take a little model of the Enterprise, and I'd put a piece of black poster board on the wall, right? And then I'd hang the Enterprise in front of it, and I'd take that 8mm movie camera and run past it, right? To make it look like the ship was going. Big nerd, right? So Star Trek was a very big catalyst in my life to get me started doing a lot of things that I do professionally now. I wanted to start acting because of Bill Shatner and Leonard Nimoy and the people in that show. The stories they told and the emotion that they conjured in me really moved me. And I thought, I want to do that. So I started going to school and auditioning for school plays. So fast forward 40 years, and I decided I wanted to pay tribute to that show because it had inspired me in so many ways. So I rented a building in South Georgia, and we proceeded to rebuild the entire sound stage from the original series of Star Trek. I mean, within inches of the original. We had the footprint of the original soundstage. We had the layout of how all the sets were connected to the big bending corridor where the bridge was, and we followed that to the letter. And then we proceeded to make 11 full-length episodes that pick up right where the original Star Trek series was abruptly canceled. If you know anything about the original Star Trek, what did Captain Kirk say at the beginning of every episode? These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. It's 5-year mission. Ooh, they only had 3 years of television, and then they were canceled. And 10 years went by, and the next time you saw those people was in Star Trek The Motion Picture in 1979. So my idea was, let's pick right up where the original series was abruptly stopped and finish the 5-year mission, return the Enterprise to Earth, and leave everyone right where they were when the motion picture begins. It's a beautiful closure to arguably the most iconic show in television history. So I'm very proud of it, suffice to say. We had a lot of great guest stars. Everything about our production is as if the show had not been canceled. I'm not even joking. I'm not exaggerating to get you to go watch it, I promise you. No amount of word description will, if you're a Star Trek fan, will prepare you. Because it's like you found episodes that were locked in a vault somewhere for 50 years. The only difference is the faces in the uniforms. But I got a lot of great actors, great people, good friends. We brought in a lot of guest stars from iconic television shows and movies that you will all know. Battlestar Galactica, Star Wars, Doctor Who, Buck Rogers, on and on, tons. Farscape, I shouldn't even start, because then I'll just forget. Star Trek itself, even. John Delancey, who was Next Generation. Those of you that know Star Trek Next Generation. Anyway, we'll talk about anything about that later, but that's my baby. But the voice acting work that I've done over the years, I'm very proud of. And I really continue to be humbled and very, very blessed. Hey, buddy.
Hey.
G'day, mate.
Good to see you.
that people have enjoyed my voice work over the years. I started quite haphazardly, not really knowing what in the world, you know, like it's one of those things that you know somebody out there does, but you really don't know anything about it. Like you see those orange cones on the side of the street, right? Like, somebody makes those cones. I don't know where and I don't know how, but they just show up right on the side of the street. So I knew, you know, since a little boy, we all knew that somebody was behind the voice of Scooby-Doo, right? Bugs Bunny's not a real person. There must be somebody talking for him. But you never really think about, I want to do that job. It doesn't even occur to you that it's really a job, right? That somebody would pay you for. So I was living in Houston, Texas, minding my own business, working in music and video film production. I wrote a lot of music for like ad agencies, jingles and stuff, because they pay really well. A friend of mine said, hey, you got a lot of acting experience, don't you, because of Star Trek? I'd been acting since I was like 12. And I said, yeah, and he said, you should go and audition for this place. They buy these Japanese shows and they dub them into English and they're looking for actors. Well, all I heard was they're looking for actors. Because, I mean, if you're an actor, you love to act. You don't know how much money does it pay. No. You know what I mean? How, will I be famous? No. You just want to act because you love acting. If you love football, and I walk in here with a football, what would you say? Dude, throw it to me, right? You'd want to play because you love it. It's that simple. So I went and auditioned because I love acting. And I thought, well, voice acting, it's probably like acting only in front of a microphone, right? And I got cast, crazy, in Street Fighter 2. And I did it, and I thought, well, that was weird and fun. I mean, seeing your voice come out of an animated character's mouth is different. But I did it, it was a lot of fun, and then I just went on with my life. And a few weeks later, that same company called and said, hey, we have another show. It's called Neon Genesis Evangelion. You want to be in it? Sure. Like, I don't even know what they do with this stuff, right? I assume they probably sold it. I mean, that's how you make more, right? That's how you pay the bills to make another one. But I didn't know. I just went in and did my thing because it was fun. I didn't even know what they paid. I don't even remember if they ever told me what they paid. It didn't matter because it was fun. And it just kept growing from there. I worked with that company in Houston for many, many years. And then I got invited to an anime convention. Wait a minute. They have conventions for this stuff? Remember, this is 20 years ago. I mean, my mom took me to Star Trek conventions, which, by the way, we all owe a debt of gratitude to Star Trek, because every Comic-Con you ever go to started with Star Trek. That was the first conventions, were Star Trek conventions. So I went to this convention, and here's all this anime merchandise and wall scrolls and manga and action figures and toys, and I was like, I can't believe this. I never even knew any of this existed. And fans would come up, that's my character on that poster right there. I didn't even know that it was a big deal. And after going to a few conventions, I met some people from some other studios. Hey, you want to come up to New York and play a character in Pokemon? Sure. Hey, you want to come up to Dallas and play a character in Dragon Ball Z? Sure. What's Dragon Ball Z? Whatever it is, I'll do it, right? Again, I loved the work. I loved the craft. Hey, you want to come to LA and play a character in Bleach and Naruto and Vampire Knight and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and about 100 more? So that's how my career happened. And I will not hesitate to tell anybody, whether it's a Christian convention or not, that I give God the glory for the opportunities that have come into my life, because I just told you the story. I didn't plan anything. I had nothing to do with any of it. A door opened, I walked through, I had no idea what would ever come of it. And God gave me this opportunity. So I'm always very, very fast, very quick to tell people that this is all for His glory, that the opportunities are from Him, and that I'm incredibly grateful. I always felt like, better give credit where credit is due, So that's my story as far as voice acting is concerned. And I do a lot of filmmaking and music and all kinds of things. So somebody start us off with a good question about something. Yes, sir.
When you do voice acting, do you use your norm? Do you deliberately use your own voice? Do you have alternate tones?
That's a great question. It's a yes and no answer too, and let me explain what I mean by that. The most important part of voice acting is acting. It's not making funny voices. It's not changing your voice to sound like someone completely different. It's about playing a character and playing it believably, so the audience becomes invested in that character. So for instance, people have told me, and I believe it's true. Hey, how'd you get in there? I thought it was on my wrist. Stay in my pocket. People have told me I have a very recognizable voice. Like I can pick you out of anything. So it's especially fun when you get the chance to change it. So this is my natural voice, right? This is what I sound like. And if somebody cast me to play a character, we would discuss the different possible voices you might use for this character. Now, if it's a bad guy, perhaps or if it's a really big dude, like a big bad guy, your default might be to try to do something a little lower and a little more malevolent, let's say. Perhaps I'd even put in more of a nasally tone to it. And even, perhaps even... Maybe that still sounds like me, but it's a characterization of a type of person. And I've often told people, you could take 5 or 6 characters that I've played and pull one line from each of them and string them together. You'd be like, oh, the same guy. So obvious, same guy. Yeah, it is. Unless you watch the shows that you pulled the lines from. And then you would see that the characters are very different. Anyone seen Full Metal Alchemist?
Shorty.
The character in Full Metal is similar to my voice. He's a younger kid. So my voice starts to go up a little higher, and maybe even make him a little raspy. My brother and I are searching for the Philosopher's Stone. And then there's another show called Oregon High School Host Club. And it's about these teenage boys that start this club in the school to entertain the young ladies. Very elegant, you know, very, oh, my princess, welcome to the host club. It's the same voice, different attitude. Do you see what I'm saying? You don't change your voice, you change the attitude. So you don't always change your voice, you don't have to even. The most important thing is matching the character best. It's fun to change your voice. It's fun when people say, I had no idea that was you. I love that. It's one of my favorite things ever. We got halfway through Bleach. You guys ever hear that show? Before somebody said, oh my gosh, you're Ikuku? I had no idea. That's something that I think most actors like to hear. Because you kind of want to, you know, fade away in the background and be able to play this different character. And one of the funnest parts of voice acting is you can play characters that you'll never get cast as on screen. Right? I mean, look at me. I'm never going to get cast as Broly. If they make a Broly movie, it won't be me, right? It'll be some huge muscle-bound dude. If they do a Full Metal Alchemist live action, Edward's like 13 or 14 years old, and he's this big, I'm not going to get that role, right? But with voice acting, you can play just about anything, which is really fun. Not as limiting, you know? Question? Yes, sir.
So, as you're prepping for these things, how much of the backstory you're given to these characters? When you're told, hey, you know, you're going to play this character, how much of the backstory do you have to kind of, you know, wrap your head around?
Usually none. I mean, literally none. Usually, you walk in and they go, okay, see that guy, the purple hair? That's you. And he starts talking the 6th line on page 4. That's his. Let's watch the scene. I'm serious. And you're like, okay. And they start playing the scene on a monitor in the recording booth. And you're watching and you're hearing him talk. And you're watching him move. And you're glancing at the script because it's in Japanese, right? So you're like, okay, that's what he's saying right now. Okay. Can I see it again? Director says, sure, go ahead, roll it again. And you're just kind of taking it in. How does he move? How does he talk? How does he express himself? What's his relationship with these characters? Does he like this person he's talking to? Is he threatening this person he's talking to? You take it all in super quick, right? Like on the spot. And then if you've not recorded before, let's say this is the first time, what voice are you going to use? Well, if I watch this video and I see this character and I think, oh, he should sound a certain way, and I'll do a line, and the director will say, make him a little friendlier. Oh, okay. And I do the line again, only I dial in a little friendly, dial in a little smile, right? And then he'll say, good. Now, maybe lower his voice a little bit. He sounds a little young. Do it again. And once you get to a certain place where the director's happy and you're happy, and you start recording. One of the first lines you ever record as a character, they'll take that line and they'll put it in a folder somewhere on the computer as a reference. Because you may not play that character again for 4 months. And they'll bring you in again. Hey, we got a new batch of episodes from Japan on such and such a show. And you're like, what show? Yeah, you played the purple-haired guy named Kazume. And you're like, I did? It's like, really? That was 20 projects ago, right? And you don't remember what he sounded like, for sure. So, the moment you get into the studio, pull out that reference line, they'll play it for you in your headphones, and then you repeat it until you've dialed in that character's voice. Let's see, I wanted to say something else about your question. Let's see, what was it? If you, as far as backstory, the director will usually give you what you need, and no more. Because time is money. I mean, they're not gonna waste, precious engineering time, recording time, telling you a story that you really don't need to know right now.
So like a 2-sentence kind of.
Yeah. This guy is the uncle of this girl, and whenever she gets in trouble, she calls on him. And he always reluctantly appears, and he gives her a hard time, but he always helps out. The end. Go. See what I'm saying? Just like this is kind of an idea of what this character is. And then, of course, the more you record, the more you kind of get a sense of the guy and the character and his relationships. But they don't typically give you backstory. The only shows that I've ever had any backstory to were the ones I went and looked up. And usually you can't do that because you don't know what you're auditioning for. Like a studio will just call and say, hey, can you come and audition for this thing? We got a new show. That's all you get. Oh, wait, that's my wife. Is that somebody else's phone?
Yeah,
Whose was it?
I think it was.
Because that's my wife's ringtone. Whose was it? I love you. I gotta tell my wife, hold on. In fact, let's just call her. Say hi. Her name is Dominique. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, she might not be on yet. She may be in church still. Get out of church.
Yeah, he's in the Central.
Yeah, she's probably in church.
Do you want to start?
Okay.
We could leave her a voicemail, tell her we love
She'll
her.
probably, you know what? She'll probably call me back because church should be over like right now. Anyway, where was it? Oh yeah. So if there's a show that I'm asked to audition for that I know about, and if it's something that I really like and that I've been excited about, I might look into it a little bit, and try to find out something about the show and the characters so I have a better idea of, oh, I want to try out for that guy, or I want to try out for that guy. If you don't know the show, you don't know who's good or not. I'll give you a perfect example, Full Metal Alchemist. When I went in to audition for that, I didn't know what Full Metal Alchemist was. Never heard of it. I did a show years ago called Full Metal Panic. Completely different, just happens to be a similar name. And when I went in, the guy that was directing said, okay, Vic, this is a strange situation. He said, we want to premiere the first episode of Full Metal Alchemist in English at Auditioning in Baltimore, big anime convention in Baltimore. He said the musical guest is going to be Larkensiel, which is a Japanese band who sings the theme song to Full Metal Alchemist.
That's his Larkensiel.
They're going to be doing a concert. We're making a big splash about the Full Metal Alchemist premiere of the English dub. So, for your audition, Vic, I just want you to record the whole first episode. He said, we're up against the gun. We don't have a lot of time. I want you to play this kid. See the kid in the red coat? Here, play him. I'm like, okay. Right? So we do the whole first episode. And it's not until like 10 minutes in that I'm like, wait a minute, the kid in the red coat is the Full Metal Alchemist. Like, this is the main guy. And so we finished the episode. They took it and screened it at Auditioning in Baltimore. And they still hadn't locked in the cast. They were just trying to get something temporary to show at the convention. So after I recorded the first episode, I was like, this is so much fun. I want to play this character so bad. Such a great show. And but nothing was finalized yet. And so after several weeks of other auditions and stuff, they called me and said, okay, because the Japanese chose the main characters, which is another interesting bit of information for you. In a lot of anime series, once, let's say you own a dubbing company and you buy Hajime no Shato. You're like, what's that? I'm like, I don't know, I just made it up. But let's say you buy that show. It's not a super popular show. It's not a big, huge A-title show. So you buy the license for 10 years from the Japanese company. And they send you the materials, right? You need the video, you need a script, you need all the sound effects, right? Music, all the stuff, separate elements. And they say to you, do whatever you want. It wasn't a big title, it wasn't super popular, have at it. Just do the best you can with it. Make us all some money. However, if you bought an A title like Full Metal Alchemist, or Bleach, or Naruto, or One Piece, the Japanese care very deeply about who plays those characters. So when they're auditioning, they're like, okay, you gather a bunch of auditions and send them to us. That's literally what they do. So your company would record 4 or 5 guys, maybe 10, let me start over. Your company would record 10 or 12 actors. You would pick maybe the top 3 or the top 5. And then you would send those auditions to the Japanese company that owns Full Metal Alchemist, and they will decide who's going to play that role. So it depends a lot of times on who gets cast, depends on how big a show it is, you know? Yes, sir.
To me, lately, Vic, creativity for new installments is basically falling off the cliff, because either you'll get sequels that disappoint from their predecessors, like with JoJo Stone Ocean, Boruto, Naruto Next Gen. You'll get reboots like the 2019 Fruits Basket, or what I've seen too much of in lately, especially from Sentai Filmworks' house, too many of one of 3 demographics: the ecchi, the isekai, or the harem. And sometimes in that studio's case, it's a combination of all 3.
Okay. So what's your question?
Do you think that the creativity and imagination to create these things is starting to go downhill?
I would say, honestly, there's so many people involved in these creative processes, right? Like there's not just like one guy and he's bored. You know what I mean? There are tons of people creating tons of things. Some things make it to production, some things don't, right? There are literally, probably as we speak right now, there are probably 500 writers in Tokyo that are trying to write something creative and new, that, or create a manga that would ultimately become an anime. Is it good? Well, that just depends. And it doesn't necessarily depend on the year we're living in, or the country we're living in, or the clothes you're wearing, or anything. It depends on the guy, right? You may be more creative than me. You may be more creative than him. See what I'm saying? So I don't know that there is a universal creativity is waning. No, certain people are probably getting lazy. That's possibly one thing, is that they've been doing it forever, right? And so now they're just kind of cranking it out, giving it the minimal effort, right? But then there are guys that are fresh in the industry and they're so excited that they're getting this opportunity and they are giving it everything they've got. So I don't think it's about an industry-wide universal quality is dropping, creativity is falling off the cliff, like you said. I think maybe creativity is waning for certain people or certain production companies or certain anime series. I mean, we've all seen plenty of TV shows. Forget anime. We've seen TV shows that are made here in our country, and they start really good, and then they fall to pieces.
The old shark
It's like,
jumpers.
what in the world? They probably didn't think they were going to get, they probably didn't think they were going to have a hit on their hands, and they didn't think ahead. We've got 5 really great episodes, and then, oh no, we have to make a 6th episode, right? So it's not an anime thing, it's not an industry-wide thing, it's a people thing, you know? Hey, there she
Hey,
is.
there he is.
You guys want to say hi, Dominique?
Absolutely.
Ready?
Yes.
I'm just going to answer and say, ready?
Hi, Dominique.
Dominique. Hey, she said. Hi, baby. Hi, I'm doing my Q&A session. No, I called you from my Q&A session. Because there's a lady that I'm looking at right now whose phone went off, and it's your little ringtone when you text me. I heard ding ding ding. I'm like, oh, she's texting, and I pulled it out, and there was no text. And so I was like, who is that? Who is that? Yeah, I told him. I looked at my watch, and I'm like, oh, she's probably still in church. So when she calls, if she calls when she gets out, let's all say hello to her. Well, we love you, and by we I mean me. They probably would too. They just haven't had the privilege I have. But exactly, you just don't know yet, but you will. All of you will. I'll call you in just a little bit, okay? How was church? Probably. Okay. Okay, I'll look forward to talking to you in a bit. I love you, baby. Bye. Sorry. Question.
I don't want to dominate if someone else.
No, does anyone else have a question yet? Oh, okay, here, we'll come back to you, sir. Yes, ma'am. Love your hat, by the way.
Thank you. So I mostly make my living with my voice. My voice has been bad lately. How do you take?
Scary, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
I wish I had some magic formula. You know, I used to be able to sing a lot higher. Because of all the anime screaming and yelling and fighting and powering up and but I honestly the only thing I could say is don't push it too hard. Rest it when it's starting to feel a little bad. Rest it, water, you know. I've heard people say that, oh, there's a way that you can yell and it won't hurt your voice. Oh, really? Well, I'd sure like to know what that is, because anytime someone fake yells, I can sure tell they're faking it, right? You know if it's real. And if you want to do a good job, you make it as real as you can. But you know, your voice is a muscle, right? It's very thin, your voice box, your vocal cords. And it's like any other muscle. You exercise it, but if you overuse it, there it is.
Straight.
That's for her then. If you overuse it, you strain it. Just like any other muscle. And then you gotta let it recover. Obviously, I'm sure you know there are plenty of things that affect your voice. Allergens, sleep, or lack thereof, what you eat, how much water you drink. There are a lot of factors, and it's so funny that if you don't use your voice a lot, it's not like your livelihood. You don't really think about it until suddenly you have to sound a certain way. You gotta sound like you sounded last week when you were in your recording, or you know you need it to be there for you, and suddenly there's like, oh, it doesn't sound. I've been taking just stupid little personal story here, but I have trouble sleeping, and so I was taking some kind of a clonazepam or a lorazepam or one of those PAMs, and it kind of made my voice a little raspy. And I noticed it, and when I stopped taking it, my voice got clearer, could sing higher, at the end of a weekend. At the end of a weekend at a convention, just talking to people, you know? And it's not just this kind of talking, right? It's, hey, hi, what's your name? Nice to meet you. Do that all day long, right? And you're like, ugh. So, make sure and give it, let it rest. You know, when we did Dragon Ball, and Broly is a very loud, low, angry, yelling all the time, vicious character. And he would tear my throat up. He'd tear me up. I'd be down for 2 weeks. I just couldn't do anything. I mean, if you want me to play some low character, I could do it. But I certainly couldn't do Full Metal Alchemist, right? That soft, light range is long gone. You sound like this, or like this. So what we started doing with Dragon Ball was, I know this is crazy, but I would go in to record a video game, and we would record for 10 minutes, and then break for 5 minutes. Record 10 lines, yell, scream, Kakarot, Kakarot, die, die, blood, blood. Now, be quiet for 5 minutes. Go sit in the green room, drink some warm water, don't talk. What are you doing? You're letting your muscle relax. You did your 10, 12 reps, and now you're letting it relax before you go and hit it for another 10 minutes. So that's the best advice I can give.
Are there any things you can eat or drink to improve it, like lemon or honey or?
You know, different people are different. I've never found anything. I know there are some great cough drops that open your throat up and your nasal passages. There's one called Fisherman's Friend that a lot of voice actors in LA swear by. Like, I'll go into a studio and there'll be a box of them on the counter because they know they really help out. I also know, I've heard of singers that like to eat potato chips before they perform because of the grease in the potato chips. Or maybe they just really like potato chips. I don't know. And they made up this lame, well, you know, it lubricates my voice. Oh, yeah, right. You just like potato chips, right? So each person's different. I've not yet heard or found anything that's kind of everybody says this one thing, you know, works perfectly. So just, you know, best thing you can do until you find that thing for you is just, if it starts, you know, rest it. Don't push it too hard. Let it rest. Give it plenty of water. Absolutely. Good question. Yes, sir.
How'd you get like the rights for use Star Trek to make your own show? Like, what's the
What
process?
a great question. We didn't.
Couldn't be
You know
sued.
why? Because we don't sell it. Obviously, I don't own Star Trek.
Right? Parody, essentially.
So I can't just make Star Trek and sell episodes of Star Trek. I don't own it. But for the longest time, people like CBS, who owned Star Trek, and George Lucas, and you know, who owned Star Wars for a long time, let the fans make fan-based productions. On the one line in the sand that says, don't make money. Don't you dare try to line your pockets with money from our property. We never did. That wasn't why we made it. I made it for love of Star Trek. I made it to pay tribute to that show. I didn't make it to make money. So every penny we got went right into renting camera gear, renting dollies, renting hotels for the actors, buying flights for the actors, food for the actors, buying fabric to make costumes for new actors, new characters. All the money went into the production.
Were actors paid?
No. I wish I could have paid them. I had the awkward conversation with every actor and everybody who ever came into my production, whether they were holding a light or putting makeup on an actor, or whether they were acting. And this is the conversation. Look, happy you're aboard, we can't pay you. Now, you're gonna be a part of something very special, and it's gonna be something you're gonna be very proud to have been a part of. But we don't have the money to pay people. This is a labor of love, and every penny we raise goes into making the production. And everybody that worked on my show knew that, and they were fine with it. You know what we gave them? We gave them $30 a day for food per diem. That's what we gave them. And we had a nice hot catered meal for lunch, but we gave them money to eat. That was it. Question? Yes, sir.
It's not really a question, but Friday I met you with Rip, we all were talking. I met you at Star City Anime Comic-Con.
Oh,
And that's the one
wow,
I'm trying to
Star
remember.
City,
Yes.
Roanoke, right?
Yeah, Roanoke, and I was trying to, I'll make it short, nobody's trying to get more questions, we're talking. You just told me, keep God first. I lost your autograph here like a long time ago, but it's not about getting autograph. I just wanted to say, hey, it was Star City that we met at. Because I was trying to remember, and this morning I was getting ready with him, and I forgot the badge I had, and I was going to show it to you. But yeah, Star City Anime, where I met you at.
You know what? I was trying to remember the name of the Roanoke
Yeah.
Anime Convention, because
Yeah,
I remember going.
I think my friend still has a sheet that you sign the bed sheets, you know, so. But, yeah, I don't know to autograph people sign it, but that's an inside story, so.
I love it. Well, it's good to see you
Yeah, I
again.
know. Well, no,
I was just invited to an event in Roanoke,
where at?
so I can't remember the details. He just contacted me. So if I end up doing that, you better come see me,
Well,
okay?
I live down here. So
Oh, you're here now, okay. Well, I came here to see you then, all right? Forget Roanoke. I didn't say anything about that. Question?
I think we're actually out of time.
No, we can't be out of time. We just started. Right? Okay, can we end with one good one more? Is there somebody in here after me? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay. Well, you guys, thanks for coming. That was really, it happens too fast, right? It goes fast. If I had the chance to meet you, thanks for coming. I'm gonna head back over to my autograph table. If your autograph was destroyed in a flood and you need another one, I can set you up with that. If I haven't gotten a chance to meet you yet, please come and say hello. I'd love to sign something for you. And if not, thank you so much for coming. God bless you guys. What a privilege to be here. And I hope to get the chance to talk with all of you before the weekend's over. Thanks so much.
All right, everybody give a big hand to Mr. Vic Mignogna.